So, welcome everyone. I totally lost the track of time and sorry for opening the session late, I think 3 4 minutes. So, yes, before we start, let's take a moment of silence to ingather ourselves and focus the mind, get the mind back in the body with the breath. So, starting with the opening aspiration, anyone who would like to read it aloud for us is welcome. Please unmute and you can read it out aloud.
With boundless compassion and wisdom, I'll work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord and have joy and a world at peace.
Thank you. So I think today maybe we can finish our reflections on verse 2. It would be nice to maybe also finish the verse today. I think we have been doing this for a couple of sessions now, and we were last on page number 22, if I'm not wrong. 22, here it is. Yes. And we were talking about dropping our older habitual patterns, unskillful patterns, especially in terms of people who are very closely connected with us and are maybe live in close proximity and have close associations with them. It's very hard to drop our habitual ways of responding, reacting, thinking, feeling, and that is what the heroic heart is about, that can I just shed off that burden of thinking that I know this person and I just know how he or she is going to react, and we also continue to react in the same way. So if we shift and if we allow the space for something new to happen, then things can maybe take a different turn. Yeah, and then we also talked about attachment and love, and how that we usually understand as love is not love, but a mixture of lots of expectations, demands, and I want you to make me happy. And because you are not making me happy, I'm going to be disappointed at you, moody, all those things that we very well know. So that is not love. That's a mixture which we have to sort so that only a pure love remains and no stickiness, no expectations, demands, which can happen as mother shares. And I think we were touching upon in the last session that it can happen that human love is the beginning of our journey to learning to love what actually is love. Yeah, so this maybe we can start from this one. Yeah, another problem, and then yeah, this would be an overlap, I believe. So this one would be an overlap, and then we start today with the new paragraph, so it is helpful. So maybe we start reading from another problem is that. Yeah, anyone who would like to do the honor for us of reading.
So it is helpful sometimes to just step back and look at people who are very familiar to us, though we had never seen them before. To just drop all our preconceptions, all our ideas, all our opinions, and just see them without any kind of judgment at all. Listen to them, hear them as if for the first time, see them as if for the first time, afresh. We get locked into our habitual reactions and judgments with usually too much attachment or with antipathy. Even people who love each other are often locked into a hostile way of reacting that they don't examine. They spar each other all the time and they don't hear each other. It is like one of those soap operas that are endlessly being rerun. Why not change the channel? Do I read further?
Yeah, I think this little one right in front, maybe you can
So
read
this
this
is what it
also.
means.
Yes, yeah.
So this is what it means to leave one's homeland. It doesn't just mean physically removing ourselves, but much more importantly, it means inwardly shifting to a different space. This is so important, and why this advice comes near the beginning of the practice. To really start seeing things from a different angle, as if we were in a new place, meeting new people for the first time, and seeing them with affection and the wish for their happiness. Basically, just seeing people with no prejudgments.
Thank you. So I think I'm sure all of us can resonate with what is said here, and it's so hard, and many a times we step back and we say, no, no, it's really, really hard. I can't do that. But we don't know the warriors that we are. So because it is hard, and that is why we must. Because anyway, the life usually that we live with all those judgments and reacting all the times from those grooves is also hard. It's not an easy life that we live. So just to say that it is hard is no reason to not try it, practice it out. But as it happens with all of us, I think life's experiences take us to such a point that we reach a point, like a breaking point, that it becomes necessary for us to change our habitual patterns. For each one of us, it happens in its own time. And before that, as if that peak is not reached, that I say, ठीक ही तो है, ठीक ही तो चल रहा है, why should we change, why should the other person change? Or although we may think about the other person changing, but who wants to put in the effort, on changing our own self? It's too much. So when it becomes too much, and mother says that when there's a point that comes in your life that you become disgusted with your older self, then something new, can happen, that you can't uh, tolerate yourself reacting and being habituated to the same way of thinking, feeling, and reacting to people around us. Then, that breaking point has to come. And again, for each his own, at his own time. Yeah, so at most, welcome any reflections, any thoughts on this. Very, very important, I think, these two paragraphs for all of us who live in families and have always interactions with people. This is where our challenge lies, in the battlefield.
I don't know where to start. I'm exactly in the same space since last night. It almost looks like a mirror to me right now. I've been calling myself a failure since last night. किया क्या है जिंदगी में? बस बातें की हैं और वो भी बेकार. जो करा है वो उसके बिल्कुल विपरीत करा है. And this looks like a really far away dream right now when it is in front of me. I wrote to myself last night, I want to be that snake who sheds his skin every 6 months. In fact, I don't want to do it every 6 months. I want to do it on a daily basis. I'm, I think I'm like totally in repulsion of my own body and mind right now. But this looks impossible to me, what I read in front of me.
Yeah, I think, as Sri Aurobindo says, impossibility is the beginning of possibilities. So, what appears impossible to us right now, I'll just pull something up for all of us, that is going to be possible. And it's amazing that, a few months ago or a few years ago, we would not even be thinking that there is something that we look up to, and that seems impossible because we are not looking up to anything. We are very self satisfied. But now we see that what is possible for us, although that may seem like an impossibility, but at least that vision has gone ahead. So that itself is very beautiful, and that's why mother shares that human beings, their posture, how we are erect and our nose is forward, our eyes is forward, forward looking always, it has a purpose. For example, animals, one eye is here and the other eye is, on the right and left. But human beings have the capacity to always look forward, no matter wherever we are right now. And that is the speciality, that we can always cross our own thresholds. So I thought maybe we could touch upon what Sri Aurobindo says about one of my really most favorite writings here, where he talks about the essence of sacrifice, that what is the sacrifice, like as if the yagna is happening in life. So what is the sacrifice that has to go into that ahuti, that has to go into that yagna that is going on? So just this, yeah, maybe we can read. um, yeah, this much maybe. Yeah, and further also, it's beautiful really. And every time I go through any phase, and something like this falls in front of your eyes, it really is very uplifting. It's very, very uplifting. So we don't have to associate ourselves with the little me. Sri Aurobindo reminds us again and again that whenever you are in trouble, never identify with the problematic self. Know that it is there, yes, but I am not the problematic self, so I can always transcend it. And that is why one would say that, oh, for now it seems impossible, because at times we unknowingly identify with the limited self, but we are not that is a part of us, but we have to transcend. We have the capacity to transcend. So let us go through these words, which I believe are very, very inspirational and uplifting, and also resonate with what we were reading, that how we have to leave the old habitual tendencies for the sake of our true self, which is waiting within. So would anyone want to go ahead and read it out?
Yeah, I can go. There's some background disturbance. If it's not too much, I can. Can you hear something?
Yeah, but it's not too much.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
so go ahead.
But the Gita discourages any excess of violence done to oneself. For the self within is really the Godhead evolving. It is Krishna. It is the divine. It has not to be troubled and tortured as the titans of the world trouble and torture it, but to be increased, fostered, cherished, luminously open to a divine light and strength and joy and wideness. It is not oneself, but the band of the spirit's inner enemies that we have to discourage, expel, slay upon the altar of the growth of the spirit. These can be ruthlessly excised, whose names are desire, wrath, inequality, greed, attachment to outward pleasures and pain, the cohort of usurping demons that are the cause of the soul's error and sufferings. These should be regarded not as part of oneself, but as intruders and perverters of our self's real and diviner nature. These have to be sacrificed in the harsher sense of the word. Whatever pain in going they may throw by reflection on the consciousness of the seeker.
I mean, this is so beautiful every time, as if I can't just, one says enamored, enamored by these words. So, what has to be excised? He says that what do you have to get rid of? It is not one's self, but the band of spirit's inner enemies. Most of the times, we are identifying ourselves with the spirit enemies. What am I identifying with? Desire, wrath, inequality, my greed, my attachment, my desire. So we become too my, with actually the band of enemies. So he's sharing that these are the ones which are giving us trouble. Now, when we are in the trouble, like, Manmeet was sharing that something troubling me again, and if we try to find out the crux of the matter, we will see that all the time, either we have expectations about things that this is how it should happen and this is not how it is happening, so we can place it in the category of desires. Then, or the other thing, we are angry at somebody, we are hating somebody, we are not liking somebody, that gives us trouble. Inequality, again, good and bad, the dualities in which we are stuck, and we don't like to be with pain, wanting to be with pleasure. If pleasure is not there, seeking pleasure, running towards it. Greed, whatever is I have, not enough, not enough, I want more, furthermore. And attachment to outward pleasures and pains. So our relationships, our attached spots. Most of the time, our relationships are our attached spots. That is where we have to become non-sticky. So all this, like a bouquet, like in a tokri, we have all this together. And he's sharing that this is what you have to excise out of yourself. And he says, very well, the pain that we feel. He says that when you are excising it out, like a tumor is excised out of your body, you will feel pain. But whatever pain comes, he says, towards the last lines, where is it? Yes. Whatever pain in the going they may throw by reflection on the consciousness of seeker. It doesn't matter how much pain you have to go through. Like a new birth has to happen. Now, when a new birth has to happen, the mother has to go through pain. And they say that if mother is not going through pain, actually they induce, that pain should happen. And we very well know that people who have a cesarean section, have a lower immunity as compared to kids born through a normal delivery. Again, many things can be talked about. So pain is very much a part of process. We don't have to run away from the pain. We can absolutely embrace the pain. Like really, as Thich Nhat Hanh shares, like hold ourselves And this is an auspicious pain. It's not a pain that I am nurturing my sadistic sadness. No. It's a pain that I am letting go of all this I have considered myself, my desire, my attachment, my relationships. So now I am not letting go of my relationships. I am just letting go of the stickiness, because stickiness troubles me. Stickiness is not a part of my true being. And if I consider the sticky me the true me, it will continue to give me trouble, because that's not me. So, this is how a continuous ahuti and a yagna has to go on. And it is happening for all of us, whether we know it or not know it. Anything that we want to grasp onto will be taken away from us. That's how a yagna is happening. Either we do it consciously, like we say, anyway, this doesn't belong to me, it belongs to you. So, here inwardly I give it to you. If it stays, I enjoy it. If it doesn't stay, thank you. So inwardly you have detached yourself from all the relationships and possessions and material wealth, property, name, fame, respect, being somebody. Inwardly you have consciously started doing the yagna. But actually, Sri Aurobindo says that even if you are not doing it consciously, not to bother. Because the design of existence is such that no one can possess anything. And we all have enough experiences towards that. We have never been able to possess anything and derive our fulfillment through that. And that's the very demonstration that a continuous yagna without our knowledge is going on. So the question is whether we want to be a part of conscious yagna or we want to do it unconsciously. I mean, the stage where we are at, thinking about it, reflecting, it is impossible for us to now do it unconsciously. We can't help it. It's not a reversible process. Once we are at this stage that we begin to think about it, slowly it will move towards more and more conscious, that whatever I find myself attaching to, I immediately offer it, inwardly, and still take delight in it. It's not that we don't have to take delight. So as long as something is there in front of me, it's gift of the divine, it's prasad of the divine, I relish it, I enjoy it, I'm grateful for it. But if it is taken away, then I don't say that why did you snatch it away from me, because you gave it, so you have full right to snatch it away. And this is the heroic heart. In Buddhism we can say heroic heart. In Sri Aurobindo's terminology we say the Aryan spirit, the warrior. In Kabir's language we say surma. Why a surma? Because हम इसको इतना अपना समझते हैं, all these my desire, my attachment, because when we are excising it out of our body and self, it actually requires a warrior spirit. क्योंकि उसको अपना समझा हुआ है ना, ऐसा लग रहा है कि मेरी बॉडी का कोई पार्ट मुझे देना पड़ रहा है. So it's a very, very auspicious pain. It's like, I feel at times the power of community or sangha in that sense is like how in older times or even now, that when a woman is giving birth to a child in villages, all the ladies and daimas, they are like supporting because they know it's an auspicious pain. So it's like that kind of a pain that we know that this would be there. But it's only a passing phase. Once we evolve into a expanded version of ourselves, then we have the delight also of a new birth. And he also, these first three lines, he says that don't do it in harsher sense. Like, don't, kind of beat yourself up that, oh, see, you are not doing well on the path of spirituality. Don't beat yourself up. Why? He also gives why. So that I really appreciate, because we don't know how and why. So he says that it's the Krishna evolving out of you. But the Gita discourages any excess of violence done to oneself. Inwardly, we are beating ourselves with thoughts and words. Outwardly, we are doing actions which are harsh to us. No, you know. For the self within is really the Godhead evolving. If we truly know that there is a Krishna sitting in me and he wants to come out, evolve through all the experiences of life, would I beat it up? Wouldn't I nurture it? Wouldn't I care for it? That the divine is sitting and he wants to evolve out of me. That's why in Buddhism we have the first aspect is loving kindness towards oneself before you can extend it onto others. Be lovingly kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up, because only then we can kind of spill it out and think of being compassionate to others before anything else. So here, loving kindness, we can connect here when he's sharing that it is the Krishna who is evolving through each one of us. Please don't bash it up. Don't be so harsh in your judgments about yourself and and outer actions. Be a little kind. Give it time. Like Kabir says, "Dheere dheere re mana, dheere sab kuch hoye." It has not to be troubled and tortured as the titans of the world trouble and torture it, but to be increased, fostered, cherished, and luminously opened to a divine light, strength, joy, and whiteness. बड़े प्यार से, like really taking care of oneself. This is one aspect which we can't let go of, being best friends, best buddies to ourselves, and always taking our own self to a higher light, whether anybody is there around us or not. We are our own sangha. I am my own sangha first, because I am always in my own company. So it really matters what kind of company I am giving myself. Demeaning company, discouraging company, or a uplifting company. Company, I don't mean like an organization. Enough companies out there. Yeah. So yeah, any reflections, I can just blah 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 and don't stop. So I think I should give all of us powers to mute me. Not only Taru, but all of us. Yeah, please go ahead.
I think one thing I find really beautiful is most of the masters and mystics, they always talk about humor. How it would not be possible or how it would be really difficult if I can't laugh at myself. Because it's really weird. It's like I'm engulfed into something and I am following its dictates. And then I get like totally, how you said, disgusted with myself one day over time. And I'm like, no more. But instead of now switching over, I spend months, sometimes years, sometimes lifetimes lamenting about, oh, how could I do that? Not realizing that till I'm saying, how could I do that? I'm still being a puppet of the same thing that I am hating right now. So, it's that is on my mind. Jo man se na utre maya kahiye soye. If right now, if I'm feeling disgusted and I'm not able to switch, I'm sitting in that disgust. It's funny. It's funny how it's still trying to, I don't know, grab me and dictate me, even when I'm saying I don't like you, and it's still saying, yeah, talk more about me, tell me, cry about me, right? It's again like ego, just me, knowing that the ego is not just, the opulence and arrogance, whenever I'm saying that, how could I do this or why did I do that? One can give it up when one sees we have the capacity. But first we'll have to realize that, okay, I'm done with that. That it's, that I don't want to go there. Now I'm looking forward. So yeah, but beautiful what you said. I have not read that before. Thank you.
I want to talk, but I'm crying. I don't know how I'll talk. It's very painful. I don't know how to reach the stage where I can laugh at myself. आप कह रहे हो धीरे धीरे. Labor has been going on for so long. और इतना अकेला है. आज शायद रोना पॉसिबल हो रहा है क्योंकि आप सब हो यहाँ. तो आई एम क्राइंग. जो आपने संग की बात की तो लग रहा है अच्छा और लोग भी हैं. The village is there, but otherwise इतना अकेलापन है और आप अकेले उस लेबर प्लेन में बैठे हो. बच्चा भी नहीं दिख रहा. कभी नहीं कि तुम प्रेग्नेंट हो कि and you just there. और कभी गलती से आसपास देखो तो लगता है यार सब तो ठीक है, सब तो जी रहे हैं, तुम्हें ही क्या हुआ है. I don't want to be pregnant to the extent that last night I was at a dinner, everybody seemed so normal except me. I was like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you for once be okay?
Yesterday we were reading a very beautiful story by Sri Aurobindo. I think it was yesterday only. Yes, in Inspirational Lives. It was called Hari Mohan's Dream. And in that, one of a fellow who is Hari Mohan and who is a poor person, he doesn't have much. He's toiling really hard every time in his khet and really struggling hard to make ends meet. And he looks at his neighbor, who is a kind of a saint with lots of luxury, comfort, and everything. So Hari Mohan is a devotee of Krishna, and he keeps on talking to Krishna that inwardly, that how can you do this, like this fellow, like you were sharing, that other people, they are so normal. I mean, what is wrong with me? So he says exactly, when I was sharing, I got reminded of that. He says that, what is like your problem? I mean, Krishna, what is your problem? I am your devotee, and you are kept me in such pitiable, miserable condition. And I look at that fellow, and like he has all the comfort and luxury in life. Where am I going wrong? What am I doing wrong? And then he says inwardly, because he's friends with Krishna, he says, if you come here, I'm going to really beat you up, because this is cruel what you are doing to me. And then Krishna appears. And he says that you said you are going to beat me up, but if you want, I am here. But before you beat me up, I want you to see something. And he says that let us go and really look at that saint's life, who you think is very good, very closely. So he gives him Sukshma Drashti, and they go to his house, and then he enters his mind. Krishna makes him enter his mind, the saint's mind, and then he sees the havoc that is going on there. Irrespective of all the outer comfort, luxury, you can say he has children, I want children, he has children, I want wife, he has a wife, I want this and that property, he has all that, he has name, he has respect, he has fame, all that you desire for. He has a so-called seemingly outward normal life, he has that. Now he enters his mind, and Hari Mohan sees that his mind is like he doesn't want to be there. full of jealousy, ambition, hatred, dissatisfaction. And then he says to Krishna that, where have you got me? I don't want to be here. Just bring me out. How do I get out? Take me away, this Sukshma Drashti. I don't want to be here. So Krishna is make him realize that all the possessions that we may have, that we think that will make us happy, now this guy has it, but they are not making him happy. So the word that we read was sap of joy, that you are devoid of the sap of joy. The sap of joy. Nobody, you, me, Sarda, Taru, Rinku, Nandini, Shweta, all of us sitting here, no one sitting here in this satsang has got their sap of joy from any one person, one relationship, life, we can say happenings of life, because everything we know is fleeting. We can't be grounded there. If now it is bringing me pleasure today, tomorrow it will bring me pain, because when it will be taken away, it will cause me pain. And that is why it is said that only leaning upon the divine is the best, not only best, actually the only way that the sap of joy can return, the delight can return in life. So we are all crying. Manmeet, you are crying, maybe, outwardly, but believe me that inwardly, all of us are crying. Because no one can get satisfaction if not for the divine. So who is the happiest one? One can ask. Is it impossible to be happy? No. It is possible to be happy. When is it possible to be happy? When we don't give our limited little self and its unfulfilled wishes and desires and wants and endless cries any attention. Self-abnegation. क्योंकि उसका पेट कभी नहीं भरने वाला. जो हमारे अंदर एक बेगर बैठा हुआ है, उसका पेट कभी नहीं भरने वाला. सो उसको हमने साइड पे कर देना है. एंड वी हैव टू लिव इन द नेक्टर ऑफ डिवाइन, so that we can find it in every interaction in life. Only when we live in the nectar of divine can we have fulfillment, even through relationships. But it's not that otherwise I am empty and now I am craving to have that fulfillment. No, not that way. I am fulfilled with the divine within, and now I can spill it out and I can interact, and even there I find joy, knowing that it's the same divine everywhere that is sitting within me. उसके अलावा किसी को मिल ही नहीं सकता ना, मतलब there it's not in the plan of creation. तो ये क्वेश्चन ही कहाँ से आता है कि भैया ये जो हंसते हुए दिख रहे हैं, ये क्यों है मेरे से ज्यादा हंसते हुए? आपने कौन से मिस्टिक या मास्टर को हंसते हुए किसकी फोटो देख ली? So our conceptions are like that. कबीर, he is actually बेचारा से कह रहा है, कबीर जी क्या कह रहे हैं? जग हंसे मैं रोए. कि भैया ये तो बड़े खुशहाल घूम रहे और मेरे को लग रहा है कि भैया तुम कर क्या रहे हो? हंस कैसे सकते हो तुम? जत्सुनमा, how she shares that one time when she was little, she is getting up in a station, bus station. She is getting up on a bus and looking at all the people sitting in the bus, and they are very content, look very content. And she is wondering that, aren't they scared that they are going to die and the life is going by? What about the progress that we have to do? When will they do that? Are they not aware? So how can you be so content? So it's a very good sign, for now at least. It's not that, cheerfulness is the salt of our sadhana. Not that we have to be painful and all the time suffering. But the thing is that it's good to be discontent, because that's how we progress. Mother says self-satisfaction is the biggest obstacle, because if you are satisfied with your life, खाना मंगवाओ, स्विगी करो, जोमेटो करो और सामने नेटफ्लिक्स देखो, बैठ के, बढ़िया है, सब बढ़िया. But here we are, where we know that these are burning topics, My life is going by, and when will I progress? Right? So I think it's a very, very auspicious thing that you are going through, and don't think that it is inferior to anything that you outwardly may look and appreciate that, look, somebody is out there and I'm poor me. No. But only when we make use of all that which is happening as a raw material for our progress. Not to let go all this suffering and pain in vain. And this is what Tonglen is about. That when I am suffering like this, I know that billions of us are suffering exactly like me. Now I know people's pain. Now I know what we go through. Oh my God, what a pain we go through. And then we connect with that collective pain through our pain. And then we wish that may everyone have simplicity in heart, simplicity in life, and may everyone have goodness, including myself. So you are speaking for each one of us. You don't think that it is going in vain and this is like should not be happening. We can be actually glad and congratulate that this is happening. Very, very auspicious. Only if we make use of it. Not to say that we keep sadistically taking delight in that, but to make use of it. And self-abnegation तो करना ही पड़ेगा. In prayers and meditations, Mother says, slowly, 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 with practice, we will learn, all parts of my being will learn to self-abnegate. Means to put all my unfulfilled demands, wishes at the corner. पड़ी है एक पोटली में. ऐसा नहीं कहीं गई है वो, एक कॉर्नर में पड़ी हुई है. बट मेरे पास बहुत कुछ है अभी करने को, जो अभी मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है उसको अटेंड करने का. So that's why giving ourselves a higher aim which motivates us to get up every morning and do something. Very, very important. That agar left to myself, of course I will never wake up. My life is such a bore. But if I forget myself, if I look at the work that I am doing and how I can benefit so many around me and even my own self, then I feel that energy and vigor that, oh, let us wake up. Otherwise, nobody feels like waking up. If not for our, of course, eating passions and shopping passions. Yeah. And आपने देखा होगा, many a times I hear also around my family. मतलब जैसे ही शॉपिंग या कुछ खाने वाने की बात हो रही, लोगों के चेहरे पे इतना तेज आ जाता है. Amazing, really. And again, depends on where you are, in which phase of life we are. And each phase, of course, has its own right place. But at times, then you don't find joy in that talk. You find joy in something else. You will read 2 lines of Sri Aurobindo, you would say, no, this is what I want to be. This is where I want to be. So वो depend करता है where we are. Slowly the older joys are left behind. We find newer joys and we progress ahead. So not to cry that we are leaving older joys. Now we'll have to find something else that gives us joy. If we are not finding joy in what used to make us joyful. So not making that a benchmark, whatever society is indulging in, and finding joy there. कि मेरे साथ क्या problem है? Why am I not finding joy there? It's a very good signal that something has to move on. Some new thing has to happen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's been quite some time I've stopped attaching my happiness to possessions and to outcomes and to things. It makes me question is that at the end of the day, I'm still unhappy. So I just wonder कि वो सब तो छोड़ दिया है और ये भी नहीं समझ आ रहा कि फिर जॉय मिलनी कहाँ से है. The groundlessness which we discussed last time. Yeah, it becomes scary and it becomes very lonely to be in that situation. And when I talk about other people, I'm only so I completely am grateful what you showed me. कहीं ना कहीं दृष्टि आपने दी मुझे इस समय कहकर. Just looking at that source of joy और वो कहीं भी दिखती नहीं है, समझ ही नहीं आता. तो right now I'm able to talk. I don't know जी सेशन खत्म होगा मैं जिंदगी में जाऊंगी फिर से. Been talking to Taru also. I come to back to square one. I'm getting tired of this falling and falling. It gets exhausting. It makes me doubt. वो faith रखना मुश्किल हो जाता है. और करना क्या है, जॉय ढूंढनी कहाँ है, उसके लिए जो पेशेंस चाहिए वो भी खत्म हो जाती है. और जो आपने कहा पुरानी चीजें जिससे जॉयस मिलते थे, कल मैंने सारी की सारी पर्चियां फाड़ी है जो खाब बुन रखे थे. उनका कोई मीनिंग ही नहीं रहा अब. बहुत तकलीफ हो रही थी कि ये क्या है, ये सब हट गया तो बचा क्या, फिर एक खाली तार टंगी हुई है बस.
Yeah, lot of times we keep doing the same things in different under different faces or pretexts. Sometimes we have to change the way we are doing or have been approaching things. जैसे like you said कि faith रखने में दिक्कत हो रही है ना, क्वेश्चनिंग के क्या faith है भी, और है तो किस पे है, और अगर है तो यहाँ पे पहुंची कैसे, है ना. लाइक कुछ तो अपने में और सोचना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज इनिशियली वी are walking in a certain way and then we are like मैं पहुंच नहीं रही हूँ, मैं पहुंच नहीं रही हूँ. But I don't question कि मैं जा कहाँ रही हूँ, मतलब what tools am I using, what road am I walking on, but this is the only road I know, so I think यहीं से मिलेगा. But it's possible कि रास्ता ही कोई और था. And अब मैं यहाँ पे बैठ के if I say oh God I have come so far on the wrong lane, that also doesn't make any difference. It's like going back to what we were saying. Sometimes we just have to change our paths. Okay, faith नहीं था, अब faith होता क्या है उसमें delve में भी करना. अगर faith sounds beautiful, what is faith? So, I mean, just wanted to share this reflection that sometimes we also have to give up, as in मेरे से नहीं होता है, right? Like if I look at myself, maybe if I have been just saying, if I've been able to transform, say, 10 things, say, in myself in the last 3 years, for example, I did not have the capacity to transform even one. It was when that, crying on a bathroom floor, when I was offering myself to the divine, to a higher energy, कि मेरे से नहीं हो रहा और मेरे को यहाँ पे अब रहा नहीं जा रहा. You do it, you do it, you do it, because I don't have the capacity to do those things, but you do, right? And then magic happens, they happen. But पहले चाहिए कितना है ना, मतलब खाली I say but I don't really believe कि मुझे चाहिए. अभी भी पीछे I'm looking back, looking back, looking back. तो जब वो looking back खत्म हो चुका होता है, and then I'm just like shattered कि that's it. I cannot be here. I don't see the way forward. You hold my hand and take me where I need to be. The hand is there. I become aware of it. So exploring new things, connecting, जैसे अब जो चीज important है, जो चीज रास्ते दिखा रही है, उससे और connect करना. I have not been able to do it, but so many masters and mystics have been able to do it. Let me see read about their lives, how they were able to do it. है ना, मतलब अगर कोई एग्जाम है और मुझे कोई सब्जेक्ट नहीं आता है और किसी और को आता है, टेक नोट्स, राइट, कि लगे रहे मुझे अपने नोट्स दे दे, आई चीट if I have to, okay, see how he is writing, I'll write. And in that cheating also, maybe I read what they are writing. So just experimenting, exploring, because if I keep sitting and saying कि यहाँ से नहीं हो रहा, वो होगा नहीं, and I have to look for new ways and have faith and aspire कि मुझे चाहिए, मुझे चाहिए, मुझे दो.
I'm not remembering where this was exactly in Mother's words, where she said that there comes a time in our life where the old is not making sense, the new has not come, what was being shared, and this frustration of being in between, being nowhere. And she says that as if there is a void, a deep void that we feel. I'm not remembering the exact words so that I can bring it up. She says that as if we feel a deep void within. And then she says that that void can only be fulfilled by the divine. Only be fulfilled by the divine. So what Taru was sharing, that let that stage reach. There is nothing wrong with that stage. In fact, nothing wrong is a different thing. It actually is so auspicious that within this lifetime, there has come a time where nothing material is attracting me anymore, and I feel a deep sense of void and something missing, and nothing is able to fulfill. Then Mother says there comes a time that we have to just desperately find the divine, which right now I can't see anywhere. So it's like that threshold on which one has to just be so patient. That's why perseverance, patience is so important here, because इतनी तड़पती हुई स्टेज है ये, कि और आप ये देखो ना, मतलब लुक एट द स्टेज दैट वी कांट बी विदाउट बीइंग फुलफिल्ड. ये दिस इज the basis of our existence. The basis of our existence is, as they say, delight. अब जब डिलाइट नहीं मिल रही कहीं पे भी, तो बंदा तड़प रहेगी, भैया कहाँ से मिले. अरे डिलाइट तो छोड़ो, थोड़ी हल्का सा रिलीफ ही मिल जाए. कहाँ से वो मिल नहीं रही जगह जहां से मिले. तो अगर प्यास है, वी हैव टू बी श्योर दैट पानी भी उसके लिए बना हुआ है. सो इफ दिस काइंड ऑफ अ thirst is there, which is not being quenched by so far anything that we have touched, we can be really, really sure that there is definitely a kind of a water that is meant to quench the thirst that we have been given. So it's so beautiful that now we are doing neti neti. अच्छा ये प्यास नहीं बुझा रहा, ये प्यास नहीं बुझा रहा, अच्छा ये प्यास नहीं बुझा रहा. So you are doing all the neti. इससे प्यार, उसमें रोना तो आता है, रोना, इट्स अ वाइटल डिसअपॉइंटमेंट. रोना इसलिए आता है, it's a vital disappointment, because we live as the asha and trishna self. We live as the desiring self. जब तक वो आशाएं पूरी हो रही होती हैं, we are very delighted. जब वो आशाएं नहीं पूरी होती हैं, तृष्णाएं नहीं पूरी हो रही होती हैं, और एक खालीपन, ड्राइनेस सी है, देन कहाँ जाके मुंह मारे. So now it is a movement from being identified with the desiring soul, which is not our true self, the begging soul, towards our true consciousness, which is always fulfilled in the divine. And isn't that beautiful? I want to say that, isn't that beautiful that within this lifetime, one is at that threshold. Whether we will find it in this lifetime or not, that's not a question. The beautiful thing is that, wow, is it happening? Is it for real that it is happening in this lifetime? That nothing is able to give me fulfillment? Because we see that 80, 90 years of life, we are very content the way life is moving, no problem with life. And Mother says, Sri Aurobindo says, that when they talk about the supramental race or the races to come, because human being is not end of the evolution, the evolution has to go further. He says only those who are discontent with this present kind of life, they are the one who are going to first get into that other kind of a phase in life. Why? Because they are not happy, they are not content. ये वाली life उनको नहीं सूझ अच्छी लग रही, नहीं perfect लग रही. They are seeking for perfection. कहाँ है harmony in relationships? Where is love in relationships? We live in a family, 10 people together, but no heart connection. Same छत, बच्चे भी हैं on the top of that. कोई हार्ट कनेक्शन ही नहीं है, दूसरे को घाव हुआ पड़ा है और पहले को खबर नहीं है कि घाव है दूसरे को. So such is the life we live, and we are not content. We are seeking, we are saying no, ये ऐसा तो नहीं है कि ये लाइफ यहाँ पे एंड होने वाली है, कुछ है जो अभी आया नहीं है. अब वो एज यू वर शेयरिंग उसकी शक्ल नहीं आई है सामने, व्हाट यू वर शेयरिंग, कि बच्चा अभी बाहर नहीं निकला है, तो तुम्हें ये भी नहीं पता बच्चा जिंदा निकलने वाला है कि कैसा निकल, कोई आइडिया नहीं है. बट ये पता है कि ये नहीं है. दिस तड़प कैन नॉट बी लाइफ, देर इज समथिंग मोर टू कम, and that itself is such an auspicious stage to be in, no matter painful. And this is how we progress. This is the journey of progress, what we have shared today. When chiseling happens, hammering happens, it hurts. So shall I be in pain that it's hurting, and why is it hurting me and not others? Or shall I be happy that wow, some hand is working on me, that's why it's hurting? Wow. Those who choose the infinite have been chosen by the infinite. That's not me, it's Sri Aurobindo. Forgot to quote. So, be really delightful, really. In pain, we can, as Thich Nhat Hanh shares, in suffering, we can have joy. While we are suffering, we can have joy. That's possible. No? Yes. So, yeah, it's like a blessing. It's like grace is pouring and I am crying. So I can either cry that what's happening to me, or I can cry, wow, grace is having its hand on me. Something is working in me. So that crying also, crying tears of gratitude, that ऐसा क्या कर दिया था मैंने कि मुझे चूज कर लिया, as mother says in prayers and meditations, कि मेरे को क्यों चूज कर लिया, अरे किसी और को कर लेते. Something like that. So all those who have been called to a different life, a higher life, of course they are the chosen ones of the Krishna, and Krishna has a special blessing on them, and it will hurt. When chiseling happens, it hurts. But it's, again, we have to see that everything is a passing phase. So this tadap that we are going through is also a passing phase. Nothing lasts forever. So give yourself some good drink that you like, and maybe don't do anything, or maybe read something, whatever is the inclination from within. Freeze for some days, if possible, freeze. Anything that works with you. Each one of us would have their own way. Be gentle and let this cloud that has come pass, because when it passes, then it gives you a different understanding. It's just a cloud, nothing else. Just a passing cloud which at times become too dark and overwhelming, and the sky is nowhere to be seen. Yeah. So leaving our homeland is troublesome. I think we know, we feel that it's not easy, and then we can be empathetic to others when they are not able to easily let go of their homeland, their habitual ways of reaction. Because I am working on myself, I know how difficult it is. Hence, we have empathy, we are on the same ground. That now I know how difficult it is. So take it easy, be kind to ourselves, and at times we forget to others, but it's good to remember. Yeah. So inwardly, I'm changing ground. So she says it means inwardly shifting to a different space, not remaining in the forest of thought. That is not our home. Nobody found solace being in the forest of thoughts. Our home, as said in Gurbani's Shabad Kirtan, where Kabir ji comes up again and again, he says, only in the divine name, only in the nectar of divine name, I found joy. So that is where nobody found joy in being in the loops of thought. So we shift inwardly to a different space. This is so important, and why this advice comes near the beginning of the practice, leaving our homeland, leaving our habituated stories, not believing in them. No, they are not real, not buying into them. To start seeing things from a different angle, as if we were in a new place. Whenever we go to a new travel location, we have a new eye at things, and when we become habituated, then we have a different eye. So looking as if we are looking as a newborn uh, in our familiar relations. New place, meeting new people for the first time and seeing them with affection and wish for their happiness. Again, very difficult, but then what else can we do? This is what is to be done. This is the challenge. So when we say that bring your mind to the breath, when I'm interacting with a familiar person in front of me and I exactly know how he's going to behave and I have total belief in my thoughts, then he also continue to behave in a same way. So, but if now I am unsure of my thoughts, if I don't buy into storylines, then if I keep bringing the mind on breath, then I give space for something new. That no, the stories may be going on in my head, but they are not true. They are not true. I know they are not true. So having a conviction that they are not true, now I have a conviction that's the only thing that is true. And now I'm starting to walk a new journey, that whatever appears to be true in my head is not true. So let me open up. And things change. Things really, really change in bits and pieces. Basically, just seeing people with no prejudgments. And as we were discussing, I mean, the first thing we have to do is to stop seeing ourselves with judgments. मैं ऐसी क्यों हूँ, मैं हमेशा से ऐसी क्यों हूँ, मैं कितनी ऐसी रहूंगी, मैं कब तक ऐसी रहूंगी. These are all judgments, nothing but judgments, and I totally buy into them, and this is unkind. This is unkind. तो अगर मैं चाहती हूँ that I want to be kind to others, I first, please, I have to be kind to myself. Not buy into the judgments which this limited machine of my mind keeps making, like manufacturing without even asking. There is no buyer here standing for that. तो slowly क्या होता है, वो मशीन चुप हो जाती है. As long as the buyer remains, the customer is standing at the door, तो मशीन को लगता है कि बड़े अभी तो लेने वाले बहुत हैं, और बनाओ थड़ 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 जजमेंट्स निकले जा रही है. But when we stop buying, how long will that machine run? No, it will find another customer somewhere else, but not here. So maybe this is too much for today. We take it into the new year. No hurry. But maybe one last paragraph and then we can after that end. So this one, another helpful practice. Maybe we can take this one. Yeah, let's see. First take this one. Anyone who would like to go ahead.
Another helpful practice is to step back and just hear oneself speak, not judging, just listening. The tone of voice, the kind of language we use, the way we speak, and what we say. So often we are not even conscious anymore. It is so automatic. How we speak to one person compared with how we speak to another. Just listen. We don't hear ourselves. Often, if someone plays back a recording, the person speaking doesn't recognize themselves. They don't know their own voice. Oh, goodness, do I sound like that? I should stop here, right?
Yeah. Any reflections are welcome.
One thing is coming to me, how we have heard this so often that charity begins at home, right? Like I always thought that that means home, right? Like me, my 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, and yet home, right? Home. Because when I'm saying I am listening, right? Like that with that frustration, with this, "तू तो ऐसी ही है," अरे, kind of, that those things, they really kill something inside, right? So yeah, it's very important to realize. And those beautiful prayers we have, right? हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करें, दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करें. तो having that space, that freedom, that courage, that yes, I am somebody, I know, and I will be guided, fine. So it's very beautiful. And
On this song that you just shared, there was this story, where Buddha, a king was going on the way, and then Buddha was also walking, and the king said that go away, from the way, just clear up space. The king's uh, whatever, the parade has to come. And the the king said that just go away, I am the king. And the Buddha said, okay, you are the king of where? And the king asked that you are the king of where? And Buddha said, I am also king. So then the king said that you are the king of where? Which party, where? In which place? And so the king said that I own these and these places and this is my kingdom. And the Buddha said that I am the king of my nature. I am the king of this domain, not any other domain, but this domain. So what you were sharing, that दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करें, that also reflects that this the aspect of self mastery that we have to work upon, that mastering our nature, movements within. And that changed actually that king's life, seeing that, oh, there is also a kingdom within. I never knew about that. Yeah. And this actually is very it's like very, very true. I remember there was once when I was doing PhD, there was a workshop on maybe presenting. It was like a couple of days workshop. We were very naive, just coming out of college and very naive and fresh, and they were telling us how do we speak, how do we present when we present, because in science you have to present many a times, make presentations. So what they did, which was very, very interesting, and it was very, one felt very vulnerable also, they recorded when we were presenting. And when actually they played the recording then in front of us, oh my God, it was so hilarious, to see our own self talking, and to see how many mistakes and errors in presenting were there, that how many a times we don't even realize that we continue to say, or I mean, so what Jetsunma was sharing, that oh my God, do I sound like that? So we are so unconsciously uh, talking, speaking, and behaving, that it's really hilarious. And also then we can see what are the aspects on which I have to work when we see it objectively after we had a good laugh at it. So it's very interesting to see what she was sharing, that with each person in our life we will see that our tone changes, our way of speaking changes, our volume may go up and down. Why must it do so? And again, as she was sharing, that we don't have to keep judging like in a harsher way, but just to, since I want to now sort and organize my being, make it more and more beautiful, so just to look at my own self, what is happening. So she's sharing that just hear oneself speak, not judging, अच्छा बोला, गंदा बोला, क्या मैं ऐसा बोलती हूँ, oh, not like that, just listening. The tone of voice, the kind of language we use, and how it changes with each person, the language, the way we speak, what we say, content of our talk. Again, ये बिल्कुल सीधा जा रहा है self mastery की तरफ, what Sri Aurobindo and Mother talk about. So often we are not even conscious anymore. It is so automatic. Just listen how we speak to one person compared to how we speak to another. Just listen, we don't hear ourselves. Often if someone plays back a recording, the person speaking doesn't recognize themselves. So I think it's a very good, even when we are not recording ourselves, just inwardly noticing, like a parallel consciousness is there and you're always watching yourself. It really helps then to reorganize and make it more beautiful, our inward being and outward being. Okay, so what say? Maybe we take up this last paragraph and then we end. Is that okay? This one? Or we take it up next year? I'm okay, whatever you say, all of you.
I'll just read it. Maybe we can reflect on it
Yeah.
even later. So we can try to see things anew. It is important to look at our mind and to start clearing out a lot of the junk and debris which we carry around with us as if we were in an old attic. We sort through all the junk and think, why on earth did I keep all that? We can start throwing stuff out and cleaning up a bit, especially concerning our habitual responses, because the Lojong teaching is all about how to cultivate skillful responses in place of our habitual unskillful responses. We need to look and question and see without pretending. We need to cultivate inner change, where we see something in our responses which is not helpful, which is negative, that is our path. That is our practice. To change and transform, everything can be changed. This pretending word, I think it takes a lot of grace to even see that I am pretending. Even in the last paragraph where it says how we speak to one as compared to how we speak to the other, when you start seeing these things, शर्म आने लग पड़ती है खुद पे कि really, मतलब, and under the garb of equality and oh, I'm a good person, we pretend, and when we actually start seeing, I mean, it's shameful, and then you drop it, right? That, okay, now I will not do that. Now I will not do that. So this pretense, I feel, is really something that when we see it, it's like, how did we even not see it before? Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
So this, I think, we have been practiced outwardly, cleaning our homes time to time, decluttering. Oh, I have not used this thing for 5 years. Let me give it away. You or maybe I bought it anew, but now I don't like it. So maybe I would not even wear it or use it. So let me, share it with someone who may actually make use of it. So we do that all the time. We are doing that. But it's really amazing that how it doesn't strike us that this has to be also done inwardly. That inside also there is a room, there is a being, a palace is there, where we have to keep it clean. So all the patterns, and all these are habitual patterns, we know. That's why we do inner child healing and this and that, because as a child, that particular pattern of thinking or habituated way of feeling did help me. It helped me protect myself, make a shell around me and help me protect myself. Now I have grown, but I'm still habituated to react and respond in that way. So when we become conscious of ourselves, and the way we react and think and why I do that, then we can see that, this I used to do, but now I see that it's like just superfluous, I don't need it. So let me just let go of it. And next time that ripple wants to come up and you want to behave in the same way again, you look at it again and you say, thank you. You have served me so good past years, but thank you. So creating space for something new. And this sorting, reorganizing, I think it continues. There is no end to that sorting and reorganizing. Every moment, as Mother says in prayers and meditations, every moment the whole universe is creating itself anew at the atomic level. Imagine, each moment. On outwardly I may look that, oh, I am the same person, like body wise, grossly I may look that, oh, the same person, but actually if we look microscopically, everything is being renewed. So we actually are a new person each moment, if only we acknowledge that. Oh, like shrugging every burden off our shoulders and again walking shamelessly, being a new person. And people may say and comment that, oh, but yesterday you were saying this and that, but how does it matter? Now it's today. I have changed, I have moved. And that keeping ourselves fresh, all the time, each moment, as much as possible. Of course, some things are difficult to let go, other things are easy. But as soon as we recognize that enough, now I am a new person, just finding our way anew. Like a river, Alokda was sharing in one of the talks that we must become like a river. And how a river, like if a rock is there and stone is there, or obstacle is there, it just finds a way, it just finds a way to go ahead. So इधर से जाना है, लेफ्ट से जाना है, ऊपर से जाना है, नीचे से जाना है, उसको ये नहीं है कि हाय मैं नीचे से नहीं जा सकता, लेफ्ट से नहीं जा सकता, कहीं से भी मुझे आगे जाना है ना. आई वॉन्ट टू गो फॉरवर्ड. नाउ लेफ्ट से जाना है, राइट से जाना है, एस्केप करके जाना है या जंप करके जाना है, दैट डजंट मैटर. ever flowing, ever fresh. And only then, when we give ourselves a chance to be ever fresh, we can actually give that chance to others around us. Yeah, so I think this is again like a beautiful paragraph. We can again maybe take it overlap again next time. That how to cultivate skillful responses in place of our unskillful habituated responses. कि अगर सोचना ही है, as mother says, कि since we are obsessed with thinking, तो आप एकदम से तो ये नहीं कर सकते कि thought free हो जाओ, है ना? So mother says that knowing that we are obsessed with thinking, the moment you notice that some negative loop is going on in your head about my life, oh how miserable, 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 you change it. You say that no, I know that the divine is taking care, and I may not know, but I know there is a larger plan. So you change it, transmute the pattern of thinking. This is what in other way we call affirmations, or write it down, that I may not see, but I know there is a larger plan. So instilling and embedding that faith and certitude in spite of that, or in place of that unskillful habit of negativity and poison. Why? Because I care about myself. So this we all can do. Becoming thought free is difficult, but because being conscious of our thoughts and noticing the negative ones and replacing it with something good and higher, this we can do. Not that much challenging. Yeah, so yeah, we can take last comments and then we can end.
This is so skillful that first of all, what I have been holding on to, I'm clearing that, the junk that I don't need anymore. And now that when my responses are skillful, what it's doing is I'm not accumulating more junk. So the space is clear, right? The space is clean and clear and the bowl is empty so that grace can flow again. So yeah, beautiful. My friend.
Yeah, anything else? Anyone? So just a second. Yeah, so I thought, yeah, it just occurred to me right now that maybe why not take this up, since it's today also. Is it not December 29th? Is it 29th? Yeah, okay, great. So I remembered just this prayer. I didn't know the date, but I'm thankful that the date is also same. I remembered the word collective convention. And we had read this prayer earlier, that now that it is a collective convention to celebrate New Year and be happy about it, why not make it an occasion for the birth of something new? So if someone can read this prayer, then we can end with this prayer.
Monica, I'll go ahead.
Oh yeah, why not? Yes.
O Lord, grant that this collective convention of the ending year be for us also the occasion to put an end to a whole lot of bonds and attachments, illusions and weaknesses, which have no longer any purpose in our lives. At every moment, we must shake off the past like falling dust, that it may not soil the virgin path which at every moment also is opening before us. May our mistakes, acknowledged and rectified within us, be no more than vain mirages, powerless to bring any consequences, and pressing our foot down firmly upon all that no longer should exist, on all ignorance, all obscurity, all egoism. May we take our flight boldly towards wider horizons and in an immerser light, a more perfect compassion, a more disinterested, sorry, dis, disinterested love,
Yes,
right?
disinterested. Yes.
Towards thee. I hail thee, O Lord, master of our life, and I want to proclaim thy reign over all the earth.
Yeah. So how, Mother always helps us march forward and forward. No? For us, also an occasion to put an end to a whole lot of bonds and attachments, illusions and weaknesses, which have no longer any purpose. They may have a purpose, okay, good, well done, but now they don't have a purpose in our lives. At every moment, every moment, not only December 29, but every moment, we must shake off the past like falling dust, that it may not soil the virgin path, which at every moment also is opening before us. So, yes, all the past is there every moment with us, but there is something also every moment which we fail to notice, a new virgin path. Unknown totally. We don't know what is to be unfolding there, but it is there. If only we give it a little space, what Taru just shared, like empty cup. If only we allow it to, it's like wanting to peek through, I want to come, I want to come, but we don't have any space. We are full of the past baggage. So poor guy, it's wanting to come, lurking around the corner, the virgin path. But we are so occupied, and the past is so important, and the present commentary is so important for us. So we must give that space, empty space. At every moment, we must shake off the past like falling dust, that it may not soil the virgin path, which at every moment also is opening before us. May our mistakes acknowledged and rectified within us. So it's not that mistakes are not there. They are there. Let me acknowledge them, move forward. Be no more than vain mirages. And yet not to, like be guilty and shameful about mistakes also. Yet the mistakes are there. I will learn, I will progress, but not to just overindulge on them also. So they may those mistakes be no more than vain mirages, powerless to bring any consequences. No guilt, no shame. Everyone has all kind of burayans, but that's where our journey lies. And pressing our foot down firmly upon all that. This is the image of Ma Kali, Durga, pressing her foot on all the asuras and demons. So at every moment, pressing our foot down firmly upon all that no longer should exist, on all ignorance, all obscurity, all egoism, may we take our flight boldly. Boldness is, along with that goes the same word, shamelessness. It doesn't matter what I was yesterday. Now I want to be a different one. Boldly towards wider horizons, intenser light, a more perfect compassion, a more disinterested love, a love which loves only for loving, not to get back anything in return. That's disinterested love. I am not walking the spiritual path that I may get this and that and this and that. No. I am walking the spiritual path because I am in love with this. I am in love with what is to unfold, and this, the whole process, one is falling in love with. The divine one is falling in love with. So one doesn't expect anything in return. Surrender से क्या मिलेगा? कुछ नहीं. क्यों? क्योंकि surrender itself is joy. So disinterested love, no personal hidden agendas and motives, towards thee, towards more and more perfection, harmony and beauty in life. I hail thee, O Lord, master of our life, and I want to proclaim thy reign over all the earth. So not only me, again in every prayer mother does that, not only me, you collectively, for all of us, may the divine will manifest in all its ways. For all of us, for my enemies, for my liking ones, for my disliking ones, it doesn't matter who we are. For all of us, only one thing is important: the divine will must manifest. You are the king, you are the master of our life. Yeah. So anything last? Anyone? Okay, so I think then we can end here today, and again pick up the threads next time. Next time, as I wrote, 5th January won't be any session, but after that we will have. So wishing everyone a beautiful new year, and as mother says, that let us make use of this collective convention to shed off the past and move into something new. We don't know what that something new is there, but giving it space, clarifying and decluttering our inner being for something new to unfold. And may each one of us throughout the planet and beyond, may we all be able to clear up spaces in our being, our life, so that something new and purer can unfold and manifest. So thanks everyone. Thank you for coming here, and thank you for sharing, opening up and reflecting together. Yeah, wishing all of us happy practice all the time. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.